Hello, hello, everyone. This is our podcast, Sisters on Love, Life, and Keeping It Real. I am Stephanie. I am a love coach and relationship, self-love coach and relationship expert. I'm also number one best-selling author, and I have a book coming out with my sister, who's a co-author in this book with 21 or 20 other authors. And it's already been released. So get your copy on Amazon. It's
Super
called
exciting.
Super exciting. It's called Misadventure's Guide to Ultimate Empowerment for Women. Harness your power and thrive in every area of your life. So that's why our podcast is really about keeping things real and talking about subjects that might feel uncomfortable to some, or maybe people are like, finally, somebody's talking about these topics. That's what we're here for. We're here to podcast weekly. And yeah, what's our topic? What are we driving into today?
Well, hello, ladies. Grab your favorite drink, get comfortable, and let's just jump right into it. Our topic today is: are you being truthful to your boundaries and your voice in a relationship?
So, being truthful to your boundaries and your voice is so important, ladies. A lot of times we set these boundaries for our own personal growth. A lot of times this happens when we're single, maybe throughout life. And then the boundaries start to become disruptive when we're not able to use our voice in relationship when we're not happy about something. So, for instance, if somebody's talking to you disrespectfully and you say nothing, clearly that's a boundary that somebody's crossing. It's the same thing if somebody's to hit your car. Would you just be like, not a big deal and walk away? No, most of us would be like, okay, give me your insurance. This car needs to be
Right.
fixed, that type of thing. So really it's about setting those boundaries ahead of time before you get into a relationship. And when those boundaries are being crossed in a negative way, for you to be able to use your voice. And obviously, when we say this, we're talking about in a safe place, right? I mean,
Mm-hmm.
nobody wants to just start screaming at somebody and you are in an abusive relationship and that could go way south for you. But finding a way to use your voice. And sometimes, ladies, that's leaving that situation. Maybe that voice is a little bit silent if that's what you
Mm-hmm.
need to do to protect yourself, or maybe if there's children involved. But yeah, having that piece of understanding what those boundaries are for yourself and saying, this is not okay by me. This is not right by me. And I'm not going to sit in silence.
Mm-hmm. I agree. And it may be somebody's actions that they're portraying out in a relationship that you're like, wait a minute, I didn't sign up for this, or you knew that this is not something that I would have wanted in this relationship. If it is things that are being said negatively in any light that's happening, I agree with you. You definitely pick a safe space, and meaning you pick the right timing, right? So
Oh, yeah.
everything doesn't have to be addressed in the moment because it won't even be heard in the moment. So pick the right time. And sometimes you do have to sit and pray on it or think on it, or even
Mhm.
vent sometimes to someone that you're close with so you get it out worldly, right, before you address the other person, right? So you're able to get it out in a healthy way. And then you can come forward and say, sit down and address it. Because if you never address it, it's an issue, but you want to address it in the correct setting and lighting, so even that they can hear you, because you can address it in a off the wall way or address it in the wrong moment, and your whole point to it or your whole mission to speaking your truth never even got heard. So
Exactly.
you do have to pick that timing and address that in the right way.
And, Tanya just said something really strong. It is important that you have that person that you can trust, that you can vent to. Oftentimes we don't have that person we can vent
Mm-hmm.
to, or we vent to the wrong person that's in our lives. We've talked about this
Mm-hmm.
before, and their first answer is like, oh, dump that person.
Right.
Clearly, unless you're being physically and even verbally abusive to that point that you need to get out, just find that person that you can count on to vent to. For me,
Mm-hmm.
Tanya and I vent to each other all the time. And it makes, it helps me to say, okay, is this something I really can be that mad about? Or can I come and have a different approach with what I'm
Mm-hmm.
upset about?
Mm-hmm.
It gives more clarity when you're able to have somebody that trusts you, is a cheerleader for your relationship, that you can sit down and be like, this is what's happening. And they're like,
Right.
I get
Yeah.
it. I get it.
Right.
I'm here for you. Kimberly's also that person for me. I have a very selective few people because I
Mm-hmm.
just, for me, it's again that VIP group of girlfriends. There's just a small selection of people that I
Oh
know
yeah.
I can say something to, and there's no judgment in what I'm
Right.
saying.
Right.
And they know
Same.
that that comes
It's
back from me.
quality, not quantity, because you
Exactly.
do have to find that person that you don't want them to come around and you vented and now they're the person you're with, they're treating them different, acting
Right.
different, being
Right.
shady towards them, don't really want
Right.
them around or invite them to things. You want them to still be, I mean, down for if you're picking this, I'm picking this, even if I disagree with the relationship or know you deserve more. Really, that's what it is.
Right.
It's judgmental and I don't even know the word I'm looking for. If you have friends or something that are like against your relationship, what does that really mean? Basically, it's you should only be in that position if you know that the person deserves better or more
Right.
out of life. Not to say the person they're with is less, but just they deserve to give you more. You deserve to be treated better or loved right. So when it's coming from love and out of that, it's different and it's not gossip.
And it's also, ladies, like knowing the difference too, because Tanya and I, we are not coming from perfect relationships. Nobody is. When people are like,
No.
oh, my relationship's so perfect, bullshit. I'm sorry. That's just,
Right.
I don't believe that. Everybody has their stuff. And so even when Tanya was saying, even if people think you want best, the bottom line is nobody's in your relationship. So who
Right.
is really the deciding factor of what's best for you? You
Right.
are.
You are.
Unless you are literally in an abusive relationship, then no, you're probably not the best person to decide if you should be staying in
Right.
that relationship,
Right.
because at that point you've been brainwashed that sorry and gift giving and whatever is going to change the situation, but it just won't. And yeah, I mean, in the book that is coming out, there are stories about women who had to escape abusive men. I mean, this is such a powerful book for all women, so we feel connected. But just know, those boundaries that you set, and when something doesn't feel right, approach it. And like Tanya said, it doesn't have to be that second. Take a step back. My whole thing is that I say is, I'm not entertaining this conversation right now, because it can get escalated to a point where it's not healthy for either party, right? So you can step away. That's the time you can call your bestie, your sister, who's also my bestie, have that conversation and be like, okay, calm her down. I can think more clearly, and I can speak in a more loving tone. And
Yeah.
hopefully that person, if that's your person, they will really listen to you and honor your voice.
Yeah,
So
I
today,
agree,
ladies,
because negative things can happen in an unforeseen moment, or alcohol or something is involved.
oh,
And to just address it at that moment is not necessarily a healthy time to address it.
or
Like I said,
productive.
right. And then, right. Or productive at all. And so, really, it's finding that position to say, once I'm ready to come and I can talk clearly, right. And I can talk without emotion. Because if I'm
Yes.
coming with emotion, you're going to be all over the place and it's
Right.
not going to be what you want the person to hear. So, whether that's that you have to sit down, write it down, pray, talk with someone first, and then address it, I mean, to make it healthy, but never disregard what feels good to you and disregard your boundaries and your truth. Because if you continue to shove that down, you're not good for them or you. And eventually you will have a breaking point, and it may not look as pretty as it could have been if you would have addressed it sooner.
Yes, ladies. Never, ever, ever doubt your intuition. Look at the red flags. There's going to be some red flags in every relationship, but the red flags are getting more red and predominant over anything. That's also a clue. And I believe, and highly do this myself. I pray all the time, and I let God guide me on what I need to be done. And I really listen to what that approach is for me and for my family, and even for my friends and people around me, even jobs. I mean, it doesn't matter what it is. I pray on it. And that's huge for me. I feel like if you have a resource of something that you believe in beyond yourself, that's when you know you're never, ever alone in any situation.
Yeah.
So that's what we have for you today. Thank you for listening to us. This has been an awesome topic. Again, we appreciate each and every one of you for all of your support. And we're just so happy to be here and happy to have our podcast together.
Yeah, we are. And just remember, ladies, that every successful woman had some strong woman behind you, pushing you, motivating you for your growth. And so it's all about building and lifting each other up, not tearing each other down. And that's what we're here to do. So until next time, ladies.
Bye. Thank
Bye.
you.